It's the Russian TV show War, and it makes Syria look like an action movie. Russian pilots are portrayed as heroes fighting international terrorism.
Mongols, Napoleon, Hitler.
And in this Russian TV news bulletin, the presenter says Russia is saving Europe for the fourth time. First from the Mongols, then Napoleon and Hitler, and now from Islamic State. Russia still believes it can do that without being sucked into a wider war.
We are absolutely against any sort of involvement in long-term war. I regard this as not a long-term operation, but a counter-terrorism operation.
It's partly because the Kremlin has ruled out putting troops on the ground in Syria, and partly because of the way that war is being covered here on Russian television, that most Russians support their country's military intervention in Syria. But that doesn't mean the Russian public isn't nervous. That's because the last time Moscow went to war outside the former Soviet Union, it ended in disaster. In Afghanistan in the 1980s, more than 15,000 Soviet soldiers were killed. Vladimir Barabanov survived that war. His memories of Afghanistan make him nervous about Syria.
Most Russians watching the Syrian war on TV see it as some kind of action movie. It's only when war comes knocking at their door, when the coughings start coming back, that they will wake up.
Vladimir Mazur, too, fought in Afghanistan. His song describes that war as a noose around the necks of Soviet soldiers, and he hopes that Moscow has learnt its lesson. In Afghanistan, Vladimir says, we never planned to fight a war, but we got sucked in. I hope we don't deploy ground troops in Syria, because they'd be drawn in too. To Vladimir, war is no made-for-TV blockbuster. War means real casualties and real suffering for soldiers and the families they've left behind. Steve Rosenberg, BBC News, Moscow.